I gotta let go of that reference. All right, so we are continuing. We're on November 10th. We're going to be finishing up our poster assignment and getting something submitted for tonight's deadline. Remember, you can just submit anything that shows progress to the assignment to acknowledge it, and that would include just your text blocking sketch. And then we're going to do our presentations today. Start them. All the other presentations have to be next class, because after next class, we are sprinting to the end of the semester with digital painting as our final project that I grade, assignment 7, and then your final project. And then our final projects will be due for a gallery critique on December 3rd. So they have to be due printed with an artist statement at the beginning of class, so we can use the class period for the critique session. And then our finals week and our final exam will be the last 7 points of the class. Do note, please, that we do have class on November 26th, which is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That's just how colleges do it, but the campus is closed from Thursday through the weekend for the Thanksgiving holiday. But we have class on Monday and Wednesday of that week. But remember, we got a Monday off at the very beginning of the semester, so it's all about having enough contact hours to earn credit. Okay, so let's continue. These presentations are timed right before our final projects so that we can get inspiration for ways of combining these different techniques. So we'll see examples of digital coloring with the presentations, digital painting, of compositing, of vectors, of all kinds of things, and those are all options for our final project. So I'm going to shortcut using assignments here to go to assignment 6. And I know that the 5 days between Wednesday's class and Monday's class can be a long one to forget what you've been doing. So let's remind ourselves. So I'll go to my post. So I posted my text blocking sketch, which is actually not even one of the requirements, right? There are 3 requirements for this project, but they all go in rapid succession, and these are they. But a text blocking sketch is a great way to acknowledge that you're working on it. So the 3 requirements, I'll put them up on the board here in order, and then we'll try to knock those out. Number 1 is your black vector type. So whatever type you want, I'll just do black vector type. We need to save it as a vector and then make an online version of it to post. Then we'll do a color variation and post that. So you see the Keen Gaming in black. That's the black vector type. They did it as an outline typeface. So their color variation is they just colored inside the outlines. And then the 3rd requirement is your finished poster. And your finished poster should have your spot illustration, your type, a background, and some sort of border. So I'll just put full poster design. And I don't mind if you post your type with the spot illustration or without, but it should be clean and black, and then it should be a color variation. And then I have some students that don't like their color variation and would prefer to use their black shaped version on their final poster, and that's fine with me if that's your best finished poster, as long as you've also posted a color variation. So I want you to show you understand the flexibility of that. Just like we did a black shape vector symbol and then a color vector symbol. So where have I gotten so far? Just with the text blocking sketch for posting it. This is the one you guys kind of voted on. Now, let's see my progress here in my master folder. And what do I have? I have an AI file. So an AI is Adobe Illustrator. It's my working file format. That's what I'm going to open up. That will open up with Adobe Illustrator. It looks like it's going to open up with Illustrator 2025. For some reason, I have both of them that the campus has installed. Bless you. And I have created this type in a few different ways. So you have options. So you can use the pen tool to create your type. It's on layers above my text blocking sketch, so I know exactly where I'm doing it. Right? And then the bottom one, I modified an existing typeface. And I'm still working on modifying it. And in order to modify it, I had to use the typeface, like I'll show you here with the type tool really quickly. Let's make this big. I'll call this OK. And then I'll use properties, just like a word processor. And I'll make it really big, not 12 point. Let's make it 122 point. Let's try 72. Yes, okay. So, okay. So now I can use this, the type tools, to find a typeface I like. And there are quite a few, right? And if I use a site that's in the link or in the assignment, I have a link to it. It's called Defont. Defont is like a Pixabay for typefaces. There are donated typefaces. Sometimes they have some Creative Commons limitations to them. But this is where it says. So the second skill that we were looking at the end of last class was modifying existing text resources. So if I click on Defont, if I don't like the ones that are already built in, I was wondering why I had that linked. It will go to defont.com. And defont.com, these are just the most recent ones. I mean, many were just added just since I last logged in this morning. And if I like the look of this one, for instance, I could go to it and I could try my type in that typeface. And if I liked how that looked, I could try downloading it. And this is where we've had some issues on these public computers. You'll get a TTF file or an OTF file. These are type files. You double click those in your downloads. It will install them onto your computer, you hope. And you say install. And then all you need to know is the name of it. So what is the name? It is called Super Cursed. So now if I go to Illustrator and I select this and I look up Super, I see Super Cursed. And so you can install new typefaces if your computer allows it, right? And as a type tool, I can fix the spelling, I can fix the size, I can also fix the kerning. That's the space between the letters. See, I can narrow it or I can widen it. And I can space the leading, but I don't have multiple lines of type here. But now here's where I got to the end of last class. If I want to actually customize this, modify it, which I want you to do, not just to use them straight, what you do is you use the type tool and you click on it until you see the white bar underneath, just like you would use to edit a word processing document. Then you want to right click on that bar and you want to say create outlines. And no matter what the typeface is, that will turn it into anchor points that you can then modify. With the pencil tool, like I'll make this a drippy kind of graffiti typeface, right? Or the blob brush, or the pen tool, or any of the kind of vector tools we've used before. Woo. Wild. So that might be a way for you to get the type that you like a little bit better. So you're not required to create it yourself, you are required to modify it. So I've been working with these, and this is a pretty clean typeface. So how can I make the most of it? Yeah, still my tablet is not working the way I want it to with Illustrator. But I'm going to redraw. And make this look a little bit more hand done. for my purposes. Filling the space, making it a little bit more visually interesting. And a little less horizontal and vertical. Let's see. No, I still want it pretty hard-edged. So I'm going to take my pencil tool, double-click it, make it a little less smooth so that I can be a little bit more edgy and blocky. Because smoothing will always kind of round it out. There we go. There we go. Let's see. Then I want this a little off kilter. So once I select it with the small selection tool, I see the anchor points. I can click the large selection tool, and that allows me to transform it, just like free transform in Photoshop. I can stretch it. I can rotate it. And in some ways, if I right click and go to transform, I can kind of do distort and not quite warp. But this is more like distorting. It's just not as easy an interface. This is back from the early days of Illustrator. So I'm just shifting its axis a little bit. There we go. Then say OK. So I got the M. Now I need the E. Small selection tool. And then big selection tool. Stretch it. To place it. To rotate it. And then I can right click and use transform for these little tricks. And it will remember the last thing I used. And so that's a nice little bit. Think of it as italicizing, kind of shifting it. And you can always type these in too. It's not the easiest interface. And then I might decide to shrink it a little. And then I'll show you my fun trick. Instead of selecting all the anchor points with the small selection tool, I can open up the small selection tool drawer and click on the lasso tool. And now I'm just going to grab the back of the E, all those anchor points. I'm just lassoing around the back of the E. Then I'm using the small selection tool, grabbing one of them, and then you see how it gives me control of all those anchor points at once. So that's very handy. Same thing with the corner of the E here. I just want to play with those anchor points. I use the lasso, and then I grab them and can control them all together. I think that's okay. All right, next. I'll take the bottom of it. I'll do that same thing. So I'm using the lasso tool under the small selection tool, and I'm grabbing the back of the E at the bottom now, then using the small selection tool, grabbing one of those anchor points, and it will pull all of them with me. And then, of course, I can always modify with my pencil tool. Like if I want it a little bit straighter or more angular. Make it a little bit smoother. And another way to really get it straight, see how it's very wobbly there, is to just delete anchor points with the pen tool. So I could also do that. And now instead of using shear and everything, I'm just going to try to use the pencil tool to redraw this into what I want. you'll find your own way to work with the type.